Campania Stories adventure began at the bottom of a really steep road where we hiked up with our guide Christina to the tip of the Astroni crater. So she explained, at any moment it could blow, but hopefully we're okay. And there's lots of native varieties here. The most common are Petit Rosso and Falanghina, so we walked around the vines. And after we hiked back down the really steep road to the winery for their tasting room. And then we got to try a vertical tasting of their Falanghina from 2014, 16, 17, 18. So it was a day of Falanghina because we then went by bus to a beautiful hotel overlooking the bay to try 12 more Falanghina from various vintages and producers. Peppery, there was a wintergreen, some were more fruity with kind of tropical fruits, but others were really saline, and there was a strong connection to the minerality of the volcanic soils. It was interesting, and it can age really well, and there were really complex, interesting wines. And there we had an introduction to the Consortium and a walk around tasting with lots of different wines from Campania. Yeah, and it was a super lovely evening.
LORETO Abbey. This is beautiful. It's a monument, all the decoration, the paintings, the roof paintings. We tasted this liquor. It was nice to connect wine also with the other beverage produced in this area. Irpinia, so it's in Campania, South Italy. If you see Naples, you drive east. So you're going towards to the Apennine chain. The landscapes change totally. You leave the shore and you arrive to a mountain. It's incredible because we don't have this in mind when we go to south of Italy. Have done visits on site, so we've visited the winery, and then we've done also theory and masterclass vertical tastings to go much deeper into these three grape varietals from these local grapes, which are Fiano, Greco di Tufo and Aleatico. And that was very, very interesting to taste side by side the grapes. It helps a lot. And the big bonus, it was the masterclass held by Professor SCIENZA. He's always sharing so much about the information, the geology, the climate, the soil, the history also. I think it's nice to taste Aleatico from different areas in Campania to continue knowing more about this grape.
Well, we spent today in the province of Benevento, 6 winery visits. It's been a long day, but quite a rewarding day. Yeah, La FORTEZZA, I mean, it was a beautiful start, a very bucolic setting, right at the foot of Mount Taburno. Stunningly gorgeous winery, and a very important one historically. Fantastic hospitality program. Il Poggio was beautiful. Tusco Brothers, very small production. Marco was there with his son and his son's friend, so a very small, family-run, hands-on environment that we were lucky to partake in. LaGuardiense is probably the most important co-op, at least in terms of size. They were founded 60 years ago. It's a very large production. They're still doing some very interesting experiments and developments. In fact, we saw that with the Anima Levica wines that they poured for us today. So these are wines that were volcanic soils and really, really quite spectacular. Historical witches in the region. Because women were not allowed to participate in society, they would gather at night, and it's a great story, and really speaks to not just to Italian history, but to history in general. And she was fantastic. A working mom, the kids running around, and of course, yeah, Lola. We got beautiful 1-year-old puppy. That's the most amount of belly rubs I've seen in a winery. Tolopaco, and so I was most intrigued by them. They're the second largest co-op. The wines were incredibly pleasant, very forward, as were the people that ran it. Great representation of the majority of what happens in Italian wine. It was really, interesting for me. That's the first time I'd seen the wine gas tank, so to speak. And well, starting with our tasting, just being able to try Aglianico in its sparkling form. It's not something that we see exported to Canada very often, so it works well as a sparkling wine, which is great to see. And then following through with the Rosato as well. It was really interesting to see the very many different interpretations of Falanghina. These are wines that have the ability to age. As consumers, we tend to drink most wines way too soon, but with a little bit of patience, Falanghina is going to very much reward those who have sat on it.